Okay, I have returned. Ooh, 3 people have entered the waiting room. That's exciting. George.
I have it live streamed and I have made you co-host.
Perfect.
So you could take over from here. I will mute myself. And then I think what you would just have to do is anybody that's part of the committee, if you go to the right and you can admit them, I think, as a co-host.
Can I?
Or admit them and then they'll show up on the screen with you. And then anyone that's just kind of participant in the background, they just listen. They don't get joined as a little box.
Okay, how do I?
So
Because
to the
there's,
right where it says their name,
yeah,
so like click on Bob, does it say admit or make co-host
it
or
just says admit.
yeah, so hit admit.
Okay.
So anybody that is on the committee, hit admit to them, and what they'll do is they'll bring them up part of the discussion, and then anyone that's not part of the committee, you don't admit them. They're just in the background listening. And then if there's an opportunity for the public to speak up, they'll either raise their voice or ask to speak, and then you could choose to allow it or whatnot.
But currently, I think so there's a person in the community that's just in the waiting room.
Yep, yep. And you'll keep the community members, you'll just keep in the waiting room and they're there to listen and observe. And
Okay.
then
Oh,
if you open it to like participation to the public at some point through your discussion, then you can allow them to speak.
well, someone
Just so
let,
that way you don't have like 30 different people on your screen.
yeah, someone let George in, but that's okay.
Oh, yeah, that's
Hi,
fine.
George.
Hi, it's Stephanie too.
Hi,
Hi.
Stephanie.
Hi.
Hello. Hi,
Hi.
everybody.
Hi.
We're going to get started in a couple of minutes. Hi, Pete.
Hey, what's up?
Not much. Nice to see you.
Mhm.
Hi, Bob. Hi, Nancy.
Hello.
We'll get started in a couple more minutes. I just want to make sure that everyone who would like to join
So I have,
has a chance to join, but we'll start right on time.
yeah, so it does look like there are a lot of people that are signing in, joining under the town of Shebig Island Zoom email and address, which might mess us up. So it looks like George is logged in under that, and so was Eliza. So um I yeah, so whoever George is, he
Say
shouldn't
more.
George Bates.
be,
I
yeah,
couldn't
I
get the
don't,
video
so
on, but
um he's logged in as a co-host, which means that it's using the town's Zoom account, email, and password. So I would suggest to log in through a personal Zoom account.
Actually, hi Vika.
I think it's Eliza.
Hello.
Yeah.
It logged
Oh,
when I
Eliza.
went to
Okay.
Zoom, it automatically puts me as Town of
Okay.
Sheboygan, but
I
whatever.
just, the only reason I say that is because sometimes it has messed us up when we have like several different people logged in under
I
the
know, but I
same
never
account.
changed any passwords.
Well, I just had to change one, so somebody changed one on me at some point.
Not me.
So, all right, Loren, I'm gonna mute myself, stop talking, and let you take over.
Okay, great. We're going to get started at 6 p.m. I want to respect everyone's time. Thank you very much for coming to the very first meeting for the Comprehensive Plan Advisory Committee. I'm going to share my screen because that's the easiest way of just going through the agenda. Can someone give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen? Thank you, Nancy. Awesome. So yeah, welcome folks. The meeting is beginning officially. This committee is going to function just like every other town committee within the town. The public is welcome and is encouraged to participate. We'll also, of course, follow all of the, ethical guidelines that are laid out in the town committee structure. This meeting in particular is going to be a lot of me talking. In the future, that will hopefully not be the case because I want to hear from you all. But this is really just to kind of like lay out the groundwork for our work together and make sure that we are on the same page for moving forward with community engagement stuff and starting the process of updating the comprehensive plan. So thank you for your participation. Agenda item 1, who am I? Most of you pretty much know me, but just in case, I'm Loren. I moved to the island in September to begin a 2-year Island Institute fellowship. My most recent master's degree is in marine policy, where I took a lot of classes on urban planning, energy resilience, all kinds of marine policy and marine conservation roles. I also have 10 years of professional experience, mostly within psychotherapy and mediation and other kinds of energy social science research. So I'm very happy to be here, and I'm very happy to be working with you all. And in terms of you guys, I know that you were all sought out because of your connection to pre-existing town committees, and that will obviously inform your responses and your engagement in the participation. However, please feel free to provide your comprehensive, very holistic perspective. I'm not going to ask you, let's say, for example, Bob, you're representing sort of the community at large. Please represent the entire community. That's obviously not fair. Along with that, Peter, I wouldn't expect you to represent the entire fire department. And so you're representing yourself and also bringing, your specific experience that you've had within the town as well. Agenda item 2. So we have a pretty ambitious timeline. We're obviously getting started now. The fellowship will go until about August 2027. And so we have until then to work together on this comprehensive plan. And so I've had it set up in phases. Phase 1 is really to prepare and discover meaning like really dive deep into the perspectives of the community and the priorities that the community has laid out. And we'll kind of get into that in terms of how we'll do that and how we will center community engagement in this process. We'll really establish this committee's mission, the roles and norms, and the timeline, which we're doing right now. We'll kind of develop a consensus for developing the community engagement process, and then start that community engagement process, whether it's a survey, community meetings, interviews, and then I will be in charge of consolidating, synthesizing, analyzing, and sharing those results with you all and with the community. Phase 2 is creating and collaborating. And so we'll tap into the outcomes and data from that discovery, from all the community engagement. We will draft priorities, goals, and policy actions, and we will socialize those priorities and goals and policy actions with the community through community meetings, through interviews, through having information on the town website regarding all of the work that we're doing. And we'll just have a chance to go to phase 3, where we're continuing to socialize, produce, and socialize again, because through socializing, we will, of course, receive lots of feedback about our perspectives, the way that we've interpreted the data, things that we might have missed within the data. And so we'll iterate those goals and priorities accordingly. And from there, we'll probably do that again and again until we reach a relative consensus and we feel like we have represented the widest breadth of community priorities and community perspectives. And we will create a sort of finalized product that will be available again for review and presentation with the community. And this feels very far away, but eventually we'll approve the plan. We'll have to weigh the pros and cons eventually of seeking the state of Maine's approval of consistency, because comprehensive plans need to go through the state of Maine's Office of Community Affairs and Planning to make sure that they are consistent with all of the legislative and legal statutes. And so we need to decide whether we would like to approve the plan here internally within the municipality before seeking that consistency approval, or if we want to do it the other way. There's pros and cons. We don't have to get into it now because it's very far away. But I wanted to give you an idea of where we're starting from and where we'd like to be. And so if I go back a slide, we're in May. I anticipate this sort of discovery community engagement going until January. We'll have a very busy summer. I haven't experienced summer on the island, but I've heard it's very busy. But it gives us lots of time to really reach the largest amount of people possible to hear their perspectives and integrate that accordingly. And so you have a neat little ambitious timeline for each phase of the project. And so the third agenda item is to review tasks and commitments from you all. And so I know that when I was recruiting folks for this committee, I was hired, obviously, in full-time capacity, really for capacity for the municipality. There's, not a full-time planner within the municipality or someone that could embark on this alone. And so that was why the town decided that it would make a lot of sense to have an extra pair of hands as an Island Institute Fellow. And so the sort of bulk of the responsibility for this work will fall on me. However, I am really seeking support, feedback, guidance, collaboration from you all. And so really what I'm looking for is for meetings like this, but also asynchronous moments where we have opportunities to share documents amongst each other to provide feedback and to support, the development, administration, analysis of all of the different types of community engagement projects that we'll do in the context of the comprehensive plan. I'd also really love feedback, support, ideas around myself reaching out to additional stakeholders that might be really good. This town is really lucky enough to have folks that have been involved in the previous comprehensive planning process, folks that have been involved in town governance for many years, or folks that just have expertise, whether that's in commercial fishing or, being a harbor master or what have you. There's folks here that have done a ton of work that, aren't here, might not have the time to commit to being on a committee, but probably have a lot of really awesome things to share. And so I don't know everyone because I just got here. And you all have lived here for much longer than I. And so I will look to you all really to provide me with the folks that I might not be thinking of in order to make sure that I meet with them or hold focus groups or additional community meetings with really specific folks to hear about their perspectives and priorities in the context of the comprehensive plan. And so really what I'll be looking for is, again, providing feedback and support in each phase of comprehensive planning process, whether that's community engagement, analyzing the data from that community engagement, drafting up goals, priorities, actually writing the comprehensive plan. And so really, ultimately, I'm not looking for the tasks and the responsibilities of this committee to be, writing the plan necessarily. I'm really seeking support and feedback and collaboration. This is something that is going to certainly outlive my fellowship because it's a, 12 to 15 year document. And so, I come to this in a very much a learning and an open-minded role. I don't know a lot about the community, and so I'll really rely on you all to make sure that I'm not missing perspectives. And so that's really the responsibilities that I am looking to you to fulfill. Do folks have questions, ideas, want more responsibilities? Yeah. What are folks thinking? I'd like to just take a moment because I've been talking now. So yeah, do folks have ideas or thoughts or questions? No. Beautiful. Oh, Nancy, go.
Well, I have one just with the number of documents that you shared and with the sort of draft comprehensive plan. it doesn't seem appropriate to take, like group meeting time if there's information to share with you around the topic that, or the area that which we're representing. So how is it best, just to email you back or comment right on the docs, or what is your preferred way of people sharing ideas or communicating back to you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it makes a lot of sense. If I can successfully get you all to be able to access the SharePoint, I would love for comments, edits to be made directly on those documents, just so everyone can see. And everyone has a chance to either say like, yeah, I agree, or I don't know, just like put a thumbs up to a comment. I would like that. However, if folks are not comfortable with that, if folks are having a hard time accessing SharePoint, I am also very open to just receiving an email or phone call, anything. I am very comfortable receiving feedback. I don't want anyone to feel like they're gonna hurt my feelings or something. I don't have any personal, I mean, I have personal connection to the things that I do, but I will not take it personally. So yeah, I have thick skin. Please feel free to tell me your thoughts and opinions about the things that I am producing or writing or creating. Thanks, Nancy. Anybody else have any questions?
Hey,
Hey, Peter.
quick question on the SharePoint. How do we get access to the docs in there to review?
So you should have received a email. It will not say like it's from me, but it will say that I think it's comp plan at townofchebegisland.org has shared a folder with you. If it's lost in your inbox or if you didn't receive it, I will share it again.
Okay, I will
Yeah.
try right now. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. I will also tomorrow in the morning, I'll just reshare it so it's at the top of everyone's inbox again.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Loren, I just have a comment. This is Stephanie.
Hi, Stephanie.
Hi. I may be the only person on this committee off island. That may be wrong, but I don't know everyone. And I wondered if we could just kind of introduce ourselves to each other.
Oh my
I mean, I
God.
know,
No, that's a
I
great
know
idea,
Bob
Stephanie.
and Nancy and Vika, and I know you. I don't know Pete.
Yeah.
And I just wasn't sure who else is, so if we could do that at some point, I would like that.
No, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna stop sharing just so you don't see my screen and we can all see
Yeah.
each other for a second.
Yeah.
I think this is a product of me being here this winter and seeing
It's fine.
everyone
No.
repeatedly.
No. Listen, you're
Um,
putting this together. It's a lot. And I appreciate you inviting me on. I just would love to make sure I know everyone.
Yeah, no, I love that. So if you don't mind, Stephanie, just maybe starting with
Sure.
you. Can you just say maybe I guess yeah, your name, maybe where you are on the island?
Yeah. So I'm Stephanie Miskell. I am on Hamilton Beach with my husband in a cottage that we bought about 21 years ago. And I am also on the Land Trust Board. And in the past was on the Rec Center board with Bob Ernest. And so I spend as much time as I can on the island. We live in Yarmouth. So we'll be there, a little bit now and then this summer and fall mostly. Anyhow, so that's a little bit about me, but yeah, and I'm looking forward to learning a lot more about this process.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Mm-hmm.
Peter, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I was going to say I can go next.
Sure.
Nice to meet you, Stephanie. I think I know, let's see, I'll go through who I know. I know Bob, Nancy. Who do I not know? I don't think I've met George, so maybe George can go next. Yeah, nice to meet you. I moved here with my wife, Rachel, in like 2021. We moved into Claire Ross's old house on South Road. And then we had our daughter River in October of 2 Octobers ago. So she's a year and a half now. We moved into Division Point on Broadreach Road last fall. I work from home. I'm on the fire department. I think that's it. That's all I can think of.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, George, you're muted.
Hi, I'm George Bates, and I'm also on the Land Trust Board. And so Stephanie said, hey, you may want to listen in on this meeting. So I guess I'm just ears here at the moment. I've come to Shebig all my life, so I've been here, whatever, I guess I shouldn't tell my age, many, many years. My wife and I are retired, and we moved here full-time 3 weeks ago. So we're still unpacking boxes. But now I'm ready to be a full-time member of the community. You know what that means. Got to get involved. And Peter, you and I have met. We met outside your house in the river. There, you just don't remember.
Dang it. Was it on South Road?
Yes.
Oh,
When you were
yes.
still on South Road.
Yes, we talked about the rock wall.
Yep.
Okay,
did.
I remember now. Yep.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, George. I appreciate it. Bob, do you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Bob Ernest, lived out here year round for 22, 23 years with my wife, Nancy. Have retired recently from a lot of different part-time gigs over the last 20 years. And Nancy and I are now entering a role of active grandparenting and helping our kids with their youngsters, both in Wisconsin and California. So being on a committee like this that is Zoom focused is a good thing. One of the things that I worked on in the past was the prior comprehensive plan committee. I lasted the entire 2.5 years that process took. And I want to commend both you, Lauren, and the select board on two things. One, designing this process, which seems to me very well set up for great engagement, but also getting the job done. And the second thing I'd like to commend you guys on is SharePoint. I just checked and I can now get into SharePoint. So yeah, SharePoint. Yeah. So good job. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Nancy, you next.
Yeah, natural follower. I think I've been here about the same number of years that Bob has. I was asked to join this to represent the school committee because the school committee is so busy themselves, and having been on the school committee and a prior teacher. That's my role on this committee. Been involved in a lot of other organizations that are represented as well, but yeah, Bob basically said it all.
Cool. Thanks, Nancy. Richard, do you want to go next?
Yes, hi, everybody. Richard Hackle. I've been coming in a Shebig part-time since 2000 and full-time 2020, moved here. Currently on the select board, and that's it. I think you all know me, though.
Thanks, Richard. Awesome. Eliza, do you want to say hello?
Sure, I'm not an official member of this, but as someone who said, listen, this process really needs more capacity as our town does. So I was so thrilled to have Loren be a candidate and take the position. And so I'm here to support the process. And I think this is a pretty wonderful group here to get this done. So I'm here to listen and help if necessary in any way. Thank you. That's all.
Perfect. Thanks, everybody. And yeah, thank you again, Stephanie, for saying that. I really appreciate it. Awesome. I will reshare my screen. So yeah, moving on from the sort of tasks and responsibilities, our first sort of, oh wait, no, actually, the first fourth agenda item is sort of norm setting. This is something I just wanted to do. It's the first time we're meeting as a group. We're going to be diving into some topics that are spicy. There will be some shared priorities. There will be some shared perspectives. There will be some diverging perspectives and thoughts and ideas for how to approach things. And so I just kind of wanted to just take a moment and decide how we want to interact with each other. Um, you know, I have these written down. They don't need to be official, but it's just a starting point of like, finding the quietest place you have when we're over Zoom. Video on if you can, but okay if you can't. I know that sometimes I don't have the best internet connection, and for bandwidth purposes, I turn off my camera. Um, Being respectful. Again, like I said, we are a pretty diverse group with diverse ideas. And so I know that I'm going to approach you all with the understanding that you have this community's best interest in mind. And I'm going to assume that you're approaching me with curiosity and commitment to that ideal. And I hope that you will do the same for me and for each other. And in terms of being respectful of each other's time, I would love to have this sort of, I've heard this sort of colloquially in other committees, and I like the term of a parking lot, where, someone brings up something really, really important, but it's not on the agenda. We just agree that it will be on the next agenda because it's super important, but we want to respect each other's time. We're already, meeting on a really gorgeous spring day, and you've taken the time instead of going on a walk, you're here with me. So I appreciate it. And so we'll create a parking lot to make sure that we can end meetings sort of on time as well as we can. Committing to being active, right? I have this sort of idea from when I was running group therapy groups where it's sort of this like step up, step back perspective where if you have noticed that you haven't participated, challenge yourself to participate and be mindful that, sometimes we'll hear ourselves participate. I know I'm hearing myself participate a lot today, but that's just because of the nature of the first meeting. But if you've heard yourself participate a few more times before a couple other people have participated, maybe take a step back and just allow the silence to happen so other people can also participate. If there's a really active conversation happening, but you have an idea for either something that was said before or something you're thinking about during the conversation, but you don't want to interrupt, use the chat function. That's totally fine. And of course, just hold yourself and me accountable. I want to come as prepared as possible for meetings, and I expect the same from you all. I will always do my best to provide you all with the documents that you need to review ahead of time, so we're not wasting each other's time here reading quietly and talking through things. I want to, at the end of the day, I really want to respect your time. I'm super appreciated that you are volunteering for the committee, and so I just want to make sure that you have what you need to be prepared. And yeah, the start and end time of every meeting is the responsibility of all of us. What have I missed? I see a chat. Oh, great, Peter. That's awesome. What have I missed? What kinds of things? And, I've never participated in a town committee before, and lots of you have. So what have I missed here? I'm getting a thumbs up. Do I have any other perspectives of things that maybe people enjoy? No? Okay. Um, Great. Then, this can be our sort of norms as a group. Um, awesome. Our next agenda item is a real one, which is very exciting. I would love to. Oh, I'm getting a chat. Let's just see. Oh, great. Thanks, Bob. I would love to receive a nomination for a chair. Just a disclaimer that the chair and I will probably be in communication more frequently, just in terms of, logistics for these meetings, making sure that I, have followed up on certain things that, they're not gonna be with me every single day or anything. But we'll probably chat a little bit more than me and the entire committee. And so I just want to be transparent that this person might have a more active role, but it will be a fun role. And so don't let the more active role scare you away from nominating yourself or for nominating someone else. So, yeah, I would love to not receive a nomination for a chair. I don't actually think that we need a nomination for a secretary, particularly given that we now have AI tools that can take really good notes, and the role primarily of a secretary is note taking, in my perspective. So long as we have a chair, I'll feel great. So I'll just stop sharing my screen so we can have the experience of looking at each other and putting pressure on each other to nominate a chair. And I can't be nominated as a chair. That's not permissible, just in case anyone was thinking it.
Does anyone want to be a chair?
That's a great question.
I do not.
But do you have like stuff going on, Peter? You have like a busy life? Just kidding.
Also, Lauren, are there other people on the committee that are not on this Zoom meeting?
Richard, there are. That's a good point. There's two people. I think I can tell you guys this, because it's public, that Kyle Korber is on the committee but is not present, and so is Mary Holt. So perhaps it makes sense to wait
Not
to
necessarily.
elect a chair. Do we think so?
I was going to make a nomination if I could.
Please.
I would love to nominate Stephanie Miskell to be the chair. I think she would be a great person in that role, and based on her experience and her ties to the island, it would work great.
Second.
Oh, goodness. Well, thank you for those words, Bob. Loren, I would consider it. I just want to keep in mind that I have a fair number of responsibilities with the land trust that board. So maybe could I talk to you about it? And also, could we make sure that we include Kyle and Mary in the process?
Yes.
Does that make sense to our group? And then maybe I would, we could talk further about it if they're not interested.
Yeah, I think that makes a ton of sense. Maybe if it sounds good to you all, maybe like the first agenda item on our next meeting, when hopefully everyone is present, can be to like hear the nomination again, and also in the meantime, Stephanie, you and I can connect and
Okay. Sure.
talk more about what that would look like.
Right, because if I'm going to do that position, I want to make sure that I, see you more frequently, not just on Zoom. So I'd want to work that out.
Totally. Yeah, that makes sense. Great. Well, we have our first next agenda item. That's great. Awesome. Well, thank you guys. And yeah, so long as folks are comfortable, I will have access to the the transcript that's created by the Zoom service, and I'll review it to make sure that it's accurate. But so long as folks are comfortable with that, I don't see the need to elect a secretary unless folks feel strongly otherwise.
Okay. Loren, along these lines, how frequently are we going to meet? And have we come up with a schedule, or could we do that just so we can put these dates in our calendars?
Yeah, so it's a great question. When this committee was created, the priority was to ensure that meetings occurred only when necessary.
Mhm.
I'm hesitant to say that we should have a standing meeting monthly, only because, when we wrap up, I'm going to have an ask for you all to provide feedback on a survey. But I in my imagination, I pictured meeting and then having a task,
Mhm.
like providing feedback on something, and then meeting again if necessary when that task is complete. So, like, if we're talking about a community survey, you would have a chance to provide feedback, and then I'd integrate that feedback. That survey would go live. I'd analyze the
Mhm.
survey data, and then we'd
Right.
have a meeting where I would share the survey data and my
Mhm.
interpretation of it. And so
Mhm.
that would probably, let's say, if we went ahead with that model, the next meeting would probably not take place until mid late June or July.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that make sense? I know it's not ideal to not have something in the calendar. And so if we want to say when we do meet, it will be Thursdays at 6. I'm comfortable with that. And so whenever we do say, yes, we'll have to have a meeting in late June or July, we'll have it in our heads. It'll be Thursday at 6. If that's comfortable for folks.
It's comfortable for me. I just would make the suggestion that we give people a little bit of lead time.
Yes.
So we can work that through, but
Yeah.
just so we get as many members as possible.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, I will always provide at least like 2 weeks notice
Yeah.
before a meeting.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay, great. Let's move forward. Excuse me. Whoops. Okay. I know I just kind of prefaced or shared a little bit about this, but really my area of expertise in terms of what I'm good at, and probably the reason I was chosen for the fellowship is because I've done a lot of different kinds of community engagement. I'm really comfortable with designing survey instruments. I did it all throughout my graduate school. I'm really comfortable analyzing data. I, did that throughout my graduate school. And so I really want to focus my work on developing the most sort of robust community engagement plan. I would, I want to be able to capture the most holistic picture of what the community envisions for the future of Shebig, and really what their priorities are for the future as we plan. And so I'm imagining that maybe, we'll start with the community survey that's open for 6 weeks, I'd imagine. And then, maybe very specific interviews and potentially focus groups, visioning exercise, and we'll talk more through about like what that exactly looks like when we get closer to when these things would happen. And then, just lots of community presentations about data and how that data is being interpreted. I want the community engagement process and my analyzing of the community engagement to be as transparent as possible. And so I'll do everything that I can. Obviously, this group will know everything, but also I would love to set up a tab or something on the town website that folks can access in the community, that they can see where we are in our community engagement process. And so, yeah, I'm curious, especially to hear from people that were either part of or participated in as a community member in the last comprehensive planning process. What kinds of things worked really well? What kinds of things maybe happened or didn't happen that you liked or didn't like. Um, what are your thoughts about starting with the survey? Does that feel like a good place to start? Do you feel like, interviewing or having focus groups is a good idea, bad idea? I want to hear from you all about community engagement and this plan. So I'll stop sharing just briefly so we can chat. But yeah.
Do you want us just to jump in?
Yes, please.
I'd
Sorry.
be curious to hear from someone who wasn't like Bob, who was involved in the prior comprehensive plan, or just those of you, who live on the island full time. How do you think we get this survey to everyone, or as many people who are interested in responding to it? How do you make sure that all community members access it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was really, really excited when I read the survey. It seems so well put together, and I could not think of a different. And the key page, I think, is the second page with the list of priorities. I can't think of anything that's missing there. In terms of the mechanics of getting it out to people, last time around, I actually don't remember how many surveys we did. I know we had a lot of public meetings. And I think the suggestion for this go round that we start with the survey and then have both public meetings, but also focus groups would play well to the concept that some people love talking in front of a large group of people and others abhor the concept of talking in front of a large group of people. So those focus groups could be topical. They could be one or two topics per focus group, and then how people sign up for that focus group or get invited to that focus group, I think is an important topic for this group to consider. I would suggest that focus groups be like over coffee at somebody's home or things like that to keep it as informal as possible, and that we record them and then let our virtual secretary, if that's how we're going to do this with AI, analyze and summarize those comments would be a great way to go about it. And also to make those recordings available to the rest of the committee and the community by way of the tab that Lauren suggested, which I think is another great idea. In terms of comparing this process to the last time, I'm just really excited that this one seems structured to be much less overly process driven. I know we all love process driven groups, but it took a long time with that last one. And I think our product that we came out of that last process with was wonderful, but way too many words. And so between all the work that Lauren's done, I'm assuming there's help we can get from the state when it's appropriate. We haven't talked about that yet, but I'm betting that's out there, especially depending on who gets elected governor this go around. So yeah, I think it's a really good process. And I think starting with the survey is a great thing to do, especially if we have that tab up and running and we commit to a community meeting. If the survey is going out for a 6-week period of time, then we schedule a community meeting still during the summer while there are a lot of people here, but giving ourselves and Lauren a couple of weeks to analyze the data, maybe a couple of weeks and at least one meeting to analyze the data.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Something too that I've thought of, to your point, Stephanie and Bob, about making sure that people can access it. I think that, obviously we'll go the sort of standard route of like having a link available on the town website, a QR code, flyer, everywhere that flyers can go. I'm just from my own experience doing surveys, I'm a big believer about the sort of digital divide, making sure that people who will not have a phone or whether they have a phone or not, people don't love to scan the QR code and do a survey on their phone. Having paper surveys available either at the town office, I could ask Jeff if we could have some at the transfer station, just places that people frequent, maybe at the rec center, wherever people are going, but I would definitely want to make sure that there are paper copies available. Just because I just don't think that surveys should ever only be available online. So that's something that I've thought of and just that I want to make sure is available. So
I think
Yeah.
that's a great suggestion.
yeah, yes. Vika, you have your hand up.
We also have a text alert system, which we
Oh,
have
yeah.
over 400 people signed up for that. So that's a great way to distribute information too.
Yeah, that's a good point. Cool. Nancy, I think I saw, oh, wait.
Oh, well, I was
Nancy, you
going to
first, then
chat
Peter.
and then, well, Bob stole my thunder. I was thinking the Niblick or the post office because a lot of
Yeah.
people go in from there. And then I guess along that same line is you get, transient isn't the correct word, but people without a connection to Shebig, I suppose any information is better than no information, because if they're physically here, they have come here for some reason.
Mhm.
But I'm thinking out loud, but we really have no reason to limit someone who might fill it out on paper as well as online because they don't trust what they did online or something. It's, you know, if they answer the questions honestly, it's still good.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Peter.
I also think it's a good way to start the survey. And then I also had a question. Do we have any data from last time that would tell us like the method, what methods were good and which ones worked out and which ones didn't, like participation rates and things like that?
That's a good question.
Maybe in the meeting notes or something like that?
Yeah, I have actually found a binder in the town office of all the comprehensive plan committee meeting notes from the first time that that they did it. So I can review that, but I know online that there was public meetings that presented on the survey data, so I can go through and see if those presentations are still available. I'm almost positive that they are, just to see what their response rate is. Yeah, because I think that that'd be really valuable.
Sweet. Yeah, I would love to help you like parse those notes. I can feed them into like Claude. I have a ton of tokens every month.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, Richard.
Yeah, to Nancy's point, I just wanted to get a feel from everybody what they think, how important it is that the survey include how long have you been involved with Shebig? Are you a full-time resident? Are you here for a week? Or have you been coming for a week for 10 years or whatever? Is that important data or can we leave it not put that in? But
It's on the survey. It's on the survey.
Is it? I mean, it says, do you consider it your primary residence and how long have you lived on Shebig?
Yeah.
But it doesn't say I'm here for a week. Is that
Do you think it
important?
would, yeah,
Nancy brought it up and I thought, well, maybe it is important.
maybe it's a matter of adding more complexity to the choices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to make it too complex, but is
No.
that data significant for our survey? If it's
Yeah.
not, then you don't bother, but if it is.
Well, could there be an other, please specify like you've done elsewhere?
Well, or do you pay taxes? Do you or a immediate family member pay
Yeah.
taxes? Ultimately, we want an island that works as well as it can for the year-round residents, but we're keenly aware of the number of seasonal residents and the ties long-term that many seasonal residents have to the island, with the forward-looking that they will sometime be year-round. So they may have homes even if this isn't their primary residence.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, as we all know, a lot of summer people have very strong emotional ties to Shebig, and their feelings can understandably get hurt easily if by feeling left out or marginalized to any degree.
Well, right. And they may be summer residents, but they may be paying taxes and, wanting to have their thoughts heard. So,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Eliza,
just gonna
yeah.
I would add, we just get back to it. If there's a category called resident, year-round resident, and a category called seasonal resident, I think that makes it really inclusive for people who consider themselves a seasonal resident.
That's helpful. I like that. Great. Yeah, and so, sorry, other thoughts. I don't want to move on too quickly. Okay, great. So in terms of next steps, I don't think I know that it sounds like folks, and thank you so much for taking the time to review the survey instrument. I really, really appreciate it. I would love then for, hello? Oh, well, our agenda item 7 is just other sort of general questions, thoughts, things that you want to discuss that weren't on the agenda that I created. I feel like we've maybe kind of been talking about some stuff, but just want to make sure that in case there's other things that you were thinking of when you joined that aren't on the agenda, I want to make sure that I cover it. This is a good parking lot. Bob, yes.
I just wanted to let you know that I have, this kind of gets at Pete's question, but I can run it through you. I've got tons of folders, both process, inventories, and results, or not results, but meeting notes and such from the prior process.
Oh,
I never throw anything away from my computer, so
that's
I can-
great.
I can get all that to you the next day or two.
Oh, Bob, that would be awesome. I would super appreciate that. Thank you. That'd be great. Other thoughts or things that it might be a good idea for us to talk about maybe next time. Anything else?
Nicely done.
yeah. And Loren, if we do think of things that we think should be in the parking lot for next time, perhaps we can email you or
Yes.
get
Absolutely.
you that info. Yeah.
I am very reachable outside of these meetings. I promise you. You can email me, text me, come to the town office. Yeah, I am available. So if you think of anything, if you read something and you think, wow, like, yeah, we should be talking about this. Yeah, feel free to reach out to me. But the last thing that I wanted to make sure that we talked about is just my asks of you. And it is to, I know that we kind of have been doing that in sort of live during this meeting, and I've taken a note of the things that we've talked about in the context of the survey. But yeah, the sort of piloting of this asynchronous feedback gathering process will be the survey. And so I'd love for folks to go through the survey and provide feedback in whatever way makes sense, whether it's right on SharePoint, if it's an email to me, if you want to have a conversation about it, that's also great. Whatever that looks like, just let me know. But I would love to receive your thoughts and feedback, even if you just say like, great job, no notes. I can't imagine that, but just in case, just let me know that you've had a chance to review it. Because my goal is to have it ready to be distributed as soon as possible. Again, I know that like we're getting ready for the busier season. And so I'd love to receive any feedback from you all by May 21st. That gives us a couple of weeks. And so I think that that should be enough time. If that doesn't feel like enough time, please let me know. But yeah, I'd love to receive your feedback by then, and then I will turn that feedback around and have a final draft of the survey with the integrated feedback by the next week. And then I will work on uploading the finalized survey to SurveyMonkey for administration, and obviously also have those paper copies, and it'll be available for 6 weeks. And so, yeah, it'll be, you know, our first time using this sort of process. I have high hopes. I feel like you guys are all really engaged, and I feel like very thoughtful. And so I have hopes that this process will be engaging and awesome. But yeah, does everyone feel comfortable with that date of May 21st being a deadline? Awesome. Thank you. Okay. So then we did it. I this is probably a silly slide to have on a town committee, but I know that this yeah, this process of updating a comprehensive plan can be a doozy. And so I am approaching it with as much enthusiasm as I can to energize us and keep us engaged in the process. So yeah, we did it. I super appreciate your time and your efforts. And I look forward to hearing from you for your feedback. And I will follow up with you guys on for SharePoint. I know that folks seem like they probably have access, but just in case, I'll just put it to the top of your inbox. It'll act as a good reminder just to open up the survey too. And with that, if folks, well, do folks have any last thoughts, questions? Yeah, anything. And if not, then I will seek someone to make a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn, and nicely done.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you all
Yes.
very much. Yeah, I will talk to you guys all soon and see you next time.
All right.
All right.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.